Hello, I'm a penguin, but you can call me Gage. And I'm trapped in the purgatories of Valheim. Looks pretty hard, right? Well, we're gonna make it harder. A lot harder. We're cranking up the difficulty settings to the max. That's right, no map, no portals, no cheesing boss fights, losing all my skills and items on death. But what idiot would decide to do this? This'll be easy, right? And with all of that being said, this is how I spent 100 days in Hardcore Valheim. What, man? Put me down, bro. Where are you taking me? Where are we going? And after Sir Crow dropped us off, I started gathering some materials. My first goal was to get fine wood early game, and this would take me rolling trees into birch to bypass making the axe. And I'm just gonna roll it in right here. Timber! Boom. And after rolling it around a bit more, I finally got my first bits of fine wood. So I was one step closer to crafting the fine wood bow. And with no hiccups 5 minutes in, we are doing good. Right? Right? Alright, almost died right there. Gotta lock in. Yep, first death in the books. Have to restart everything now. So I started to get my footing back, crafting up an axe. I spent most of the night harvesting trees to build a starter base. This guy should stay away if I got the fire, right? Yeah, he's scared of big dog. Not really having a plan for the house, I decided to throw down a small foundation and just keep building around it. Having almost a roof over my head, I thought the chest under the bed would be a nice little cozy, compact storage area. And since I had no use for the fine wood yet, I figured I would throw down a chair for more comfort points. Yep, what a beautiful day. The next day, it was time to venture out, past the hills in my humble abode. I decided to head along the coastline, where it would be easier to backtrack if necessary. But about 2 minutes into my journey, I was met with nightfall, and these little gremlins. So I figured that meant it was time to finish the house. And there we go, roof complete. And for aesthetic purposes, we need a big door. Alright, now we're complete. I then crafted up a crude bow and some arrows. I also got an idea from the YouTuber Jack to use a hoe to keep track of the paths going inland. So I crafted one of those up for future use. Setting out to explore along the coastline again, I found the next biome. Black forest. I was on the hunt for core wood to unlock some more items. And as I was cutting down a tree, I'm not messing with this guy. He's a 1-star too. I'm pretty sure at this stage he could still one-shot me, so I backed off. I came back at a different angle and acquired the core wood. The fine wood bow would make taking down trolls much easier, and the stagbreaker would make it easier to clear dungeons. Getting in and out with the wood was my goal, and then I turned the corner and saw this. Run, 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 run. And after some evasive maneuvers, I made it home. On day 5, I woke up and cooked some breakfast and got to crafting the fine wood bow. Boom. Needing to test it out, I went out to hunt some deer. And boar. And with all the hides that I collected, I crafted up some better armor. I also upgraded to the tier 3 for the workbench. On day 7, I wanted to improve the base a little bit from looking all blocky, so I added in some overhangs. And the base seemed to be coming along quite well. My next main goal was to find and kill Eikthyr, but with no map it was going to be tough. I came to the altar to see if it pointed me in the right direction, and it kept pulling my crosshair to the right. Well, if it's out there, it's going to be tough to find. So I decided to implement the hoe strat in. I could easily get turned around and lost, and the hoe is the only thing keeping me on track. I had led myself into another black forest biome, and the altar only spawns in meadows, so I had to turn back. And for the aesthetics, I figured I would just continue the path to my crib. Running a bit low on storage space, I threw in some shelves. This would help greatly staying organized and all. And I forgot to mention that the rested buff will be crucial in fighting enemies because it gives me an extra 50% health regeneration and 100% stam regen, so I need to make sure I always have it when fighting off the foes. And on the approach to the Black Forest, we met our skelly friend again. Man, this guy has a lot of health. Exploring a bit further, I found my first cave to crawl in, so I entered the chambers. And I was immediately met with some skellies, and without my stag breaker, I dipped out. And since I was surrounded by Black Forest on all angles, I decided to sail across the lands. Here we go. And I sailed across the sea in hopes to find the Eikthyr altar. Hopefully we missed those rocks right there. And while I'm sailing across the ocean, if you're enjoying the video, a like and subscribe would be much appreciated. And after arriving on the island, I had to assert dominance and snipe a deer. To farm wood easier, I would destroy these rain down shacks with my hammer. And I started exploring a bit more, taking in the view. Shoot, man, this place is way cooler than my island. And then something caught my eye. Wait, it's the altar. Now I had finally found the first boss. Now we just needed to prepare for it. Hunt his kin, whatever that means. And for those of you who don't know, the Eikthyr boss gives you his antlers to get into the Bronze Age to make a pickaxe. And I was trying to get there as quickly as possible, so I quickly decided to head back. And when I got home, I placed down the extra beehive I got, followed by crafting up fire arrows. And made my way back. I decided to build a rest area right outside the boss arena. And with it complete, I slept through the night to conquer Eikthyr in the morning. Alright, it's go time. All that was left was to sacrifice my 5 deer trophies. Holy, I was behind a rock.
Get down, Mr. President!
Should have been using these fire arrows the whole time. Bro, I'm literally behind a thing. Boom. Got him. Got him, coach. And with Eikthyr down, we can get into the Bronze Age. I also went ahead and crafted up the pickaxes. Boom. We can also get that first Forsaken power. Let's get back to the starter island and put this deer trophy on. Here we go. Boom. Now with the Eikthyr Forsaken power, I can run long distances with a 60% stam reduction. And while I was out collecting wood, a troll ran up on me. Oh god. And Hardcore really made this hard, barely doing any damage to him. After a few close calls and a little bit of kiting, Mr. Troll met his demise. And he might have fell over in a more vulnerable position. Let's go, now I can make troll armor. And after slaying the troll, I decided to go craft up the stag breaker. Boom. The next step was to acquire bronze, and to do this I would need to combine tin and copper. And tin was definitely the easier of the two because it was on the coastline. To manage weight, I decided to make a drop chest and put all my tin in it. And I had to take care of a few foes. And after narrowly missing his ground slam attack, I realized I could make this much faster, and Mr. Troll could mine the copper for me. So I started kiting him around. Yes sir, mine that rock for me. And then I made a crucial mistake. What the fuck? And that meant it was time for a break. After a few days, I decided to finally hop back on the wood. I came back to see what copper was left and found our friend wandering around still. Up on me, bro. It really suck. Wonder if he's still low health. But he ended up wandering away. Making my way back to the copper deposit, I tried to scavenge what copper was left. And I guess Valheim had something against me. So I took an alternate route back to base, and I crafted up some of the basics to get back on my feet. Alright, Mr. Bear still guarding the lands. Keeping my head on a swivel, I snuck by where the 1-star bear was. Since I'm playing hardcore, all items despawn upon death. And I just so happen to have all 3 antler pickaxes on my character. So I had to get the 10 along the coast to craft a bronze pick before I could progress. He's literally guarding my stuff. Yep, go back in the forest where you belong. And after waiting for the majority of the day, I decided to take the shot. After a few shots, I realized I wasn't killing the trolls, so I just went in for the 10. Alright, locked in. Locked into my items. They're over here. They're right here. Right over here. I don't know which one's them. Did you tell me I picked up everything but the freaking tin? With the bad man on my tail, I sprinted home. Once I arrived, I decided to upgrade the look of the base a little bit. Needing to craft the fine wood bow again, I went to collect some core wood. But the stag breaker was looking a bit better. I went back though and collected the rest of the core wood for the fine wood bow. And just like that, it was like I never died. Hopefully we don't die again though. And to smelt the copper and tin, I need cores, which can be found in the caves. And I remembered seeing one on the coastline. And we're going in. I was kinda scared at first, creeping around. And I had a right to do so.
Hello, motherfucker.
Boom. I kept creeping around the corners and getting jump scared by the skeletons. I was having no luck just finding the yellow mushrooms. Then I opened this door. And there it was, my first circling core, giving me access to the smelter and the charcoal kilns. I would need 5 of each to craft both. And luckily, this cave had them everywhere. Ooh, there's another one. You get a rested buff. Then I ran into some sort of skelly spawner that I couldn't get past. Archer at that. And after taking some hard hits, I pieced him up. How many is there? There's gotta be a spawner down there, right? And my stag breaker eventually quit. So it was time to head back. So there's actually no way there's that guy out here. So I sat in the cave for a bit and devised a plan. And it was to face my fears and just shoot the troll. And after taking many cheap shots, I finally got him. And after making a home, I spent most of the night cooking. And I crafted up a cute little troll cape. Since I would need to upgrade my gear to get past the skeletons in this dungeon, I just deemed it clear and decided to use the hoe strat to look for another cave. This would make me less likely to get lost going inland. And after reaching a clearing, I found another cave to explore. I think that is a cave. Then it began turning nighttime, so I decided to make a forward operating base close by. Woo. Oh my god. Heck, bro. The thought this guy would one-shot me. And that just goes to show you never let your guard down in Hardcore Valheim. The next morning when I awoke from my slumber, I set out to go check out that cave again. Hello, anybody home? Alright, let's go in. Alright, nobody jump scare me, please. Sheesh, another one. And I had to leave short-handed because this cave only had one. Do we see any more? Well, anyway, since it's still daytime, I guess we'll go deeper. Yeah, the game just had to be mocking me at this point. Look at him up there all fat and ugly. He looks stupid. And for being stupid, he had to suffer from my bow. I was having a very difficult time finding my last cave for the Surtling cores. Valheim was pretty unforgiving with the cave spawns, to say the least. Over here's the troll cave. I do not want to go in here. These troll caves had a troll in the back, and you'd have to kill them in close range. So it doesn't seem that worth being in hardcore after all. And after much search, I finally found it. Alright, here it is. So my first order of business was to connect the paths back together. While I was doing this, I discovered a snow biome just a little bit above our base by the cave. And I did not want to mess with that yet. I'm dead. Oh my god. That was the most clutch roll of all time. This pathing strat was tedious and dangerous, but it had to be done, because I could get lost so easily. Back to this slave labor, and I finally connected them back together. So it was time to go in. I placed a campfire for better visibility and got to looking around. I opened a door and I was greeted by some skeletons. Nope, nope. I was being kind of careless once again. Being such close proximity was something that could two-shot me. Oh, get me out of here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop everything off at the forward base and then run back. Arriving home, I added in 2 small storage chests so I could have a clear inventory going back. The next day I set out back to the cave to find the last Surtling core I needed. And after much travel, I made it back. Alright dude, I ate up. It's game time. Let's get in this dungeon. Walking in, I was met with some skeletons that I immediately made work of. And after scurrying around a little bit, I finally got it. Sir, the last Surtling core. But that wasn't the last core that I'd find. Let's go, I found a freaking trophy room. This was huge because I could now make 2 smelters. Then I decided to check out the altar marker. Yeah, glad this thing's on the map. Really helpful. And as you can tell by my sarcasm, I was kind of annoyed. More Surtling cores, let's freaking go. Another Surtling core. Dang, I got 11 from this one dungeon, that's crazy. Then, turning the corner again, I found more. Dude, how many Surtling cores are there? Holy crap. And if I didn't clear my inventory before this, I'd have been cooked. Where's the elder at? This way. Yeah, that helps out a lot. I was clicking on the altar because it drags my character's crosshair in the direction of the boss, which is what I would heavily be relying on to find the elder. And with the dungeon empty, it was time to head home with our goodies. Arriving back to Homestead, I was trying to figure out a good place to put these smelters. Should I throw these bad boys down at? Probably on this side of the house. I decided to hoe out a small little area, then throw down our prized possessions. And I had to get a little quick quad feed, for those of you who know your Call of Duty terms. Then I loaded up the smelter, charcoal kiln, then the smelter again. And I got my first piece of copper. And I completely forgot about the other smelters, so I threw that down. And I loaded that up and went to bed. And the next morning I crafted up a troll hood with my leftover troll hide. And since the smelters had been running all night, I finally had enough copper for the forge. I got the forge. This would unlock a great array of new items to craft, including the cauldron and the meads. My first bronze, see what all I can make. And I was officially in the Bronze Age. I was running low on wood, so I decided to deforest a little area to keep the kiln going. On day 23, I spent most of the day smelting the copper and tin to get to the bronze pickaxe. Then I was out collecting wood and had a troll wanting to start beef. Then I had the best idea again and tried to make him mine the copper for me. But I was taking the utmost precautions this time. And too many greylings and grey dwarfs were building up, so I just decided to kill them. Probably a good choice, seeing what happened last time. Yeah, and I definitely remember he stomped on my body afterwards. So I'm crafting this tunic because of him. I also added in a chest above the workbench and forge to make moving around the heavy stuff easier. And with that troll's slave labor, I finally had the last 3 bronze I needed for the pickaxe. Or bronze pickaxe. Here we go. Boom! And day 24 was like all the other recent days. Load up the smelter and kiln in the morning. Then I figured I might as well get the rest of the copper from the deposit. Gotta go mine some more copper. Yep, after that entire vein, I still needed more. But then I remembered there was one right behind my base by the cave. So I was heading there. Of course, I couldn't pass up on some tin, though. And when I finally made it, night fell, so I had to sleep. Since the Greylings and Grey Dwarfs are scared of fire, I decided to place them all around the copper deposit. And the cave base was needing a bit of an expansion. Twas all done, and I made sure to bring the forge in case I needed to repair my pickaxe while mining the copper deposit. And the process had began. You guys are lucky I can just do this and the copper deposit's gone. Well, almost gone. I thought there was gravity in this game. Aren't these supposed to fall? And the last piece down for the count. I got about 4 stacks in total, and it was time to drag them all the way home. And it was a rather bumpy ride. We almost there. And we made it home with the Grey Dwarf. After dropping that off, I made a cultivator and started playing around with it. I started up a carrot farm so I could unlock better foods. Then got back to filling up them forges. And since I had so much bronze now, I decided to make a bronze helmet because it didn't have any speed penalties like its counterparts. On day 30, I collected my coal and got the smelter running again. And finally progressed to the bronze axe. Now I could mine the birch trees and get fine wood easier. And I had to get that old bronze buckler. This is so convenient now, I don't have to roll them into each other. Dude, what are you doing? Get out of my face. With all the excess copper, I decided to upgrade the forge. It was kind of finicky with the placement, so I placed it under my base. And I threw the ADC out back. Yep, just filling up the forge. Since I had access to the mead kettle and a cauldron now, I would have to move my cooking station elsewhere. Let's go. Now I can craft some potions. And some better foods now. I think this would be a good touch to the base. Oh yeah. I didn't know what the difference was between the fat oak trees and the other trees was, but nothing a quick Google search couldn't fix. They dropped fine wood, and a lot of it, so I decided to hack it down. Is that gonna hit my base? After that close call, I got to chopping back the wood. And with all the freshly cut fine wood, I threw down a fermenter so I could start getting the potions going. Alright, so we'll craft this minor healing potion up. Throw it in there. And on day 32, my carrots were ready for their first harvest. My carrots are done. Dude, what kind of food's the best here? A deer meat and a carrot and a blueberry? That seems to be the easier food. And after some time passed, my potion was ready to get out of the fermenter. Yes, sir. Got my healing potion. Next, I planned to scour the lands in search of the Elder, so I built the trusty carve. Yeah, that's probably gonna get destroyed by the serpents. Land ahoy! Or whatever pirates say. I decided to head west of spawn due to it being the least explored area. I figured the best plan of action would be to follow the coast just enough so I don't get lost, until I saw the beehive. And again, I'm using the workbench strat so I could just destroy the whole thing and collect all the wood as well, along with the beehive. This adventure seemed to be a big nothing burger so far, other than the occasional bee that I would snag. A lot of trolls out here. Here's the swamp. And I was not trying to go in there yet, especially with night creeping up on us. The wind eventually turned against me, so I decided to turn around, since I had already sailed really far. And it kept being annoying, so I scrapped the boat and started walking. But before I left, I made sure to throw down a marker along the coast, in case I ever came back this way. Guys, quit sniffing my butt. What are you doing? Boom. Boom. And eventually I made it home. Yes, sir, boys. We made it back home. And all my carrot seeds were ready, so I snagged all of them up. Man, I feel like I'm playing Farming Simulator low-key. And we're out of seeds. And using my extra bees, I threw those down. Man, if you don't frick off, freaking grayling. Trying to minimize my risk of death, I figured it would be in my best interest to craft up some stamina meads. Then on day 38, I woke up and my carrot farm was ready. Since I had no luck exploring in the previous direction, I started to adventure off past my second base, in hopes that the Elder would be in that direction. Traveling into the night, I had to make a few makeshift shelters along the way. Nothing is better than finding some goodies on the adventure as well. Oh, is this guy purple? Oh shoot, he's a 2-star? Yeah, I'm dipping off this. He's a 2-star, he could probably one-shot me.
Hello there.
Bro, why is there freaking... Why are they outside of every single one of these? And as you could tell, I'm kind of sick of the trolls. Then I stumbled upon one of the altar markers, and it seemed to be pushing me to the right. Well, so I think we can narrow it down to this direction, maybe? And the no map aspect of Hardcore Valheim was beginning to take a toll on me, with the constant traveling with no real answers. So I kept on with my journey, collecting some blueberries on the way. After some time, I hit a fork in the road and decided to head back to better prepare for the Elder anyway. Because at this rate, even if I found the Elder, I wouldn't be able to fight him due to the lack of resources and food. Upon arriving home, I got to work preparing at least 300 fire arrows for the fight. This ought to be enough. There's no way he needs more than these. And I also decided to upgrade my fine wood bow to tier 3 and 4. Next, I did a little tending to the base, adding in some extra storage and farming the, you guessed it, carrot farm. And I was on my way, admiring the troll in the distance. Look, he's aura farming. He's picking his nose over there, bro. When night fell, once again, I made the makeshift camp, which also served as a marker of where I had been, to help me better navigate the lands. Trying to stay on the coast, it was day 46, and still no sign of the Elder. Next, I ran into one of the stone structures infested with skeletons. It seemed to have an Elder marker inside of it. Okay, let's see what you got here. So to the left, I think I need to go more inland, maybe? Maybe it's not going to be on the coast. Yeah, it's probably not going to be on the coast. Well, boys, looks like we're going to head inland. Might have to pull the hoe back out. I don't think it could be on that island, because that would be off the coast, and it pulled me left. And after mentally mapping out the coast, the swamp had risen out of nowhere, and I was very underprepared for that right now. Let's see if this structure has one of those markers. Nope. Okay. While I was trying to make a makeshift shelter in one of these stone structures, this troll scared me off. But I guess he was a blessing in disguise, because as I was running towards the coast, I found this. Yo! I just found the Elder. Yeah, I did just find what I was looking for, but getting back and getting the resources would be the hard part. So after taking it in for a bit, I got to work building a small base / marker for whenever I come back. It was starting to come together quite nicely. And with my cozy campfire outside, I hit the hay, ready for my journey back tomorrow. But before I left, I figured it would be a good idea to get the max comfort points I could with what I had on me. And that meant basically just throwing down a rug and a chair, and a torch. Then we were on our way to Homestead. And after much travel, while using my rest areas as markers, we made it home unscathed. Getting back to the best sight to see, my carrots. And with said carrots, I began crafting up superfoods I would be using to take on the Elder. The big three consisted of carrot soup as my stamina, and deer stew and minced meat sauce as my main health foods. Assuming these would do the trick, I set sail back to the Elder. And I wish you guys could see how long traveling takes me. It's probably instant in the video. And pass gauge seemed to be right because, boom, we're here. My next main goal was to prep the boss arena, making it flat and extra pillars as I needed. Let's get this area over here. And the backside, and I think we're done. After that, I realized I wouldn't want the Greylings and Grey Dwarfs interfering like the last boss fight. So I put campfires around since they are scared of fire. So after clearing out the last bits of greenery in the way, I got to making the pillars. Yeah, I think that should do it. And as I was putting in the third pillar, this bear almost snuck up on me. But luckily he trapped himself. And down for the count. Wait, did I just bury him? I did. Oh, never mind, he teleported through the top. And after throwing on some final touches, the boss arena was ready. On day 54, as soon as I walked outside to fight the Elder, it immediately started raining. This would give me a wet debuff whilst fighting, which is a minus 25% health regen and a minus 15% stamina regen. So I decided to wait it out, watching the rain through my window in my humble abode. Once it stopped, I was ready to take him on. Alright, it's game time. Pretty sure I got everything. Here we go. What's he shooting at? My freaking campfires? You better dodge these. Ooh. Probably should have activated that at the beginning. Whoa, 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 why is he running up on me? Oh, dude, I'm stuck. I still don't know what he's shooting at exactly. No, my campfire. He's almost dead. Just a few more shots. You dead? What's that? Nice. Let's go. I'm taking no risk with these roots. The Elder Trophy in the Swamp Key. Nice. Alright. Now we can start dabbling in the swamp, I guess. Try to grab everything and head back. We're gonna figure out what's going on with the swamp. Get a good night's rest and then head back. When the sun rose, it was day 55. I gathered what I could from the base and traveled home. I found a snow biome on the way back, but it didn't look like it was large enough to have any silver veins. So I think... Yeah, I hear wolves. I'm out. Fucking draugrs. Pretty sure these guys will one-shot me right now. Yep, I was definitely right, and would look from afar. I started to take out one just to get some entrails. No way this guy's taking this many arrows. And after killing them, I snagged up my entrails. Alright, yeah. This is a little bit too risky. I'm dipping out of here. I was following along the coast and started to get a bit lost. Not sure if I was going the right direction anymore. Yeah, but I think I might be lost a little bit. I'm just gonna keep running in, I guess, one direction. Everything just looks the same out here. So lost. Oh, there's a coast. What coast is it? Oh, man. I'm so freaking lost. Okay, I'm about to go find the coast. I've been running for like 40 minutes. For you guys, it's probably like 2 minutes. Coast. Yo! Well, we just found the trader. Oh, let's freaking go. Oh, Haldor. Oh man, I forgot about the Frostneer. We can make the Frostneer now. Frostneer was a hammer that, if gotten early on, would make the swamp way more manageable. So how do we mark this guy exactly? I would need 5 of the Ymir flesh and gain access to silver to make this godly weapon. I think the coast. That way. The hoe strategy was in play once again. My plan was simple. It was to make a trail to the coast and put a pillar at the end, signifying that it was the way to Haldor. So the mind-numbing process began, and I was on my way back. I eventually found my way back using this river to guide me back to the house. Yo, I think that might be it. I think this might be home. Let's go. Arriving home, I went to spawn to place the Elder Trophy on its hook. Got one more down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go. But we really need bone mass. Bone mass is one of the best powers. The following day, I wanted to buy the Mejanjord, so I could carry more weight on my character. Yes, sir. My marker's working like a charm. So if I just follow this inwards, we should be at the trader. Haldor sold this item, and when equipped, it would take up 1 inventory slot for an extra 150 weight on my character. So, in my opinion, the trade-off is worth it. So, before I left, I gathered all my rubies, pearls, and anything sellable because it was the most expensive item on the shop. Upon arrival, I sold all my goodies and came up to around 100 short of what I thought I had enough for. Bro, are you serious? I'm just a few short. But, if you know me, I wasn't going to leave empty-handed. I went ahead and bought the 5 Ymir flesh I would need to craft the Frostneer. Alright, let's get to going. We'll follow the coast. Man, he don't even care. I also decided to build a post to help navigate back to the base, since I seem to be traveling this path more often. Yeah, you know what time it is every single time I get home. Carrot time. I forgot to mention I threw down a maypole for extra comfort points because of the event. These structures would only be naturally spawning if it wasn't summer right now. Needing to find a new place for cooking, I decided to throw a fire pit down outside. And for the rest of day 60, I cooked into the night. When sun rose, I used my bummy boat to get back to the carve across the pond. I see the boat. My next main goal was to enter the swamp and gain access to iron. And if you've ever played Valheim before, especially hardcore, this is where the difficulty heavily ramps up. Therefore, I would have to take every precaution possible while taking on this new biome. So, let's just say I was in for a ride. With all the rain, fog, and waves, I still kept close to the coast, so I didn't lose my footing. Guys, I think I just made a big loop, because I'm going out the same side. And that I did do because the visibility was so low I couldn't see the other island in front of me. I found the swamp. Yep, just up ahead seemed to be a swamp biome, but it looked smaller than usual. But since it was the first one, there was no reason not to check it out. Deciding to dock further away for safety reasons, I hopped out and took a closer look. I'm not getting the wet debuff yet. What is this? In the world? Found the swamp. And I had to let this leech know what's up. Progressing a bit further into the swamp, I was already met with a 1-star Draugr. I was just trying to clear enough enemies to make headway in, but the waves of them never stopped. And Mr. 1-star Draugr got scared and ran away.
Huh?
Finding a ran-down structure, I decided to patch it up and make it my temporary base. And I went to sleep. The next morning, I wanted to get as many blood sacks as possible to craft the healing potions. So I was playing whack-a-mole with these leeches. You get it, because I'm using a hammer. Anyways, I tried shooting at this thing that looked pretty shootable, and yeah, I probably shouldn't have shot that. And after so long of peppering this massive root with my measly arrows, I decided to risk it all and run through the swamp to check for any sunken crypts. Not seeing much, I decided to cut my losses. I loaded up the boat with what I could and headed a different direction. And while I was traveling, I passed by my elder boss rest area, where I decided to stay for the night. Yes, we're finally home. I will say one of the most rewarding parts of this playthrough is having a mental idea of where everything is located and being right whenever you get there. Since the swamp didn't work out the way I wanted, I then crafted up some frost resistance meats so I could take on the treacherous snow biome and try to find silver. When rolling up to my secondary base, I had a troll trying to smash it, but he ran away. So I started investigating the mountains. Alright, we're gonna come back here and check out this little place. It doesn't look like a big mountain, but we'll explore it a little bit. Try to get some silver for Frostnir. As you can tell, since my frost meats had not yet finished, I couldn't traverse the snow biome. And as soon as they were done, I began my journey back. I was climbing the path I had hoed out previously whenever I was trying to find the caves, and continued the hoe journey, but in the den of the killer wolves. As I got deeper, the threat of them became more apparent, as I heard one snarl. Quickly thinking on my toes, I built up a pillar to get the height advantage. And killing my first wolf had given me a little confidence for once. But my second and third encounters had me kind of panicking a little bit. Bro, let me up there. Oh, okay. Since the wishbone from the bone mass boss would typically be used to locate silver, I was trying a different strategy, using the AoE effect from my stag breaker. This would check the ground for a message that would read "too hard," signifying that there was a silver vein beneath the ground. After the snowstorm had cleared, I had a chance to look around a bit better, and found that this wasn't really much of a mountain after all. I had left this mountain to go check out one adjacent to it, and there's not really any luck here either. It's kind of just the mid-mountain. Mountains aren't high enough. So I sat down on the workbench to gather my thoughts. Eventually I decided to head back down. And after some time I wanted to attempt to find the swamp again. And the only way I hadn't traveled yet was left of spawn. Wonder if we're gonna see any serpents out here. Man, the sunset's so beautiful out there. Anything is possible. Yeah, I think my mental status needed checked after these 2-hour boat rides. And there it finally was, the swamp. With visibility near zero, I decided to dock at this meadows biome. Alright, I'll probably set up base camp like around here. It was day 72 and we were just now starting the journey to acquire iron. That just goes to show how brutal Hardcore Valheim can be. After getting a lay of the land, I found one sunken crypt I could see from the other side. I think that's one right there. Since the swamp was encapsulated by water, I wanted a quick escape route if need be. So once again, the hoe came up clutch, making a somewhat safe path connecting the two biomes. Yeah, let me emphasize the somewhat. The leech crawling up on the path. And after somewhat completing this so-called safe path, I started making a treehouse base. But I later decided to scrap the idea because my tools would soon break if I farmed enough wood for all that. So I decided to just full send the sunken crypt. But first, I have to deal with the bad men. I'm try to kill a Strogger first.
I got this!
Bro, what? Did y'all just see that? The skeleton just now took a shot for me. Oh god, an abomination. Run, 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 run. Almost there. Ah yes, the good old sunken crypt. I would now be close quarters with every enemy, and Mr. Slime knew that, immediately poisoning me. Oh shoot, bro. Oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot. I was panicking on the inside because the poison damage would deal far more damage on hardcore. But luckily I had my healing potions ready and on standby. Man, that was kinda close. I didn't have these healing potions. I was also hitting some cheeky angles on the draugrs. And I turned the corner and found my first withered bone. Let's go, 16 iron. But back to the withered bones. Once I obtained 10, I could summon the bone mass boss fight. But just finding him would be probably the harder part. Boom. The next area I walked into had an altar locator in it, which is useless in the dungeons. Pulling me to the right. And after cleaning out shop, we netted a total of 42 iron, along with some other goodies. And making all this back to the ship safely was the next problem. So I popped my ability and got to sprinting. Man, there's not even anything bad out here. I made sure to put all the important stuff in the carved storage. And that should be the last trip. I then began my journey back home. See any more dungeons? Oh my goodness. Oh. We're gonna go this way. After being jump scared by Mr. Serpent, I peppered him with arrows from the safety of my raft. Oh frig. And after a few more shots, he was slayed. Check the boat. Ooh. After checking the health on the boat, we could maybe stand against one more of these attacks. But let's just hope we don't get attacked. Then I made a quick stop by land to repair the boat. And when I took off, I think the little grayling wanted a ride. Out on the waters again, I had Mr. Serpent's wife roll up on me. We'll call her Patricia. And Patricia got pieced up. You guys know that turn that you always wake up on going home? This is like that turn for me. And we're home. And I immediately got the forges up and going. After sleeping through the night, all my iron was smelted. I got iron. Should the first thing I make be a huntsman bow? Next, I needed to get the rest of the items off the trusty carve. So, for conveniency, I got the cart. I feel so rich. I have so much iron right now. And while I was waiting on that, I got to work with the carrots. About to make my huntsman bow. Boom. I wanted to tidy up a bit and make everything look a bit cleaner since the building is so dynamic in this game. So I started off with the farm and making it in rows. And it was starting to come along quite nicely. I ran out of wood to fill in the center, but decided to cultivate the area anyway. And after putting in the final touches, the carrot farm was complete. Completely forgetting about the stone cutter, I threw that bad boy down. This would gain me access to a more aesthetic looking feel, like stone walls. But first I needed to get rid of this wart on my base. I did this because I needed to throw the grind wheel down somewhere to improve my forge to level 4. And with my new stone cutter, I got to work cleaning up the look of the land. Cue the building montage. Alright, I think we're done so far. It's looking pretty nice. I made my home all cozy. And I celebrated with a harvest. I decided to make the top half for seeds and the bottom half for actual carrots. Then, since I had some extra iron to spare, I made an iron brooch. This was part of a recent update and would activate when I got to 65 adrenaline while fighting, gaining me 20 armor and 50 health. Then I got back to my part-time job, landscaping. Up next was something I was yet to encounter, and while encumbered I got the notification. What? The ground is shaking. Yes, I was now subject to a raid by trolls. Bro. There's 2 of the bad men. Man, this new huntsman bow is pretty good. And finally, the shaking faded after a few waves of the trolls. And last one down for the count. Oh, I got my iron brooch. And since I was running out of space in the old base, I decided I would build a larger house on the opposite side of my farm. I was basing it halfway on a house that I had been in before in real life for the inspiration. So let me know how I did in the comments below. I think I really like these rhombus looking windows. I'm gonna make the upstairs start right here. I wanted this build to be open and have a high ceiling. And some of you would probably get mad about this, but I think the build needed an iron door. This build was going to be pretty massive, so I chopped down a ton of trees to prepare for it. Let's get the ceiling down. And it was day 85. Cue the building montage, part 2. Then, while locked in building, I got another ground is shaking notification. And I made quick work of these trolls. P.U. Stinky. And back to building. think that adds a little nice touch to it. I was looking to add more character to the build and decided on a balcony to overlook the backside of the house. And I figured I should add an awning over the balcony. Yeah, I think this looks pretty nice. Then I decided to add in some wings to the edge. And some beams to break up the roof a little bit. Finished off with some X's up top. Alright, we're looking pretty good. Then to break up the flat surface up front, I added in a window. And I was just experimenting at this point, so I don't know what I was doing, but this is my window. And outside of said window, I put my kiln and my forges. Next, I started moving all my items over via the cart. And what's a Valheim house without a throne? And I think I'll put a blue banner up here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Got a beautiful little crib compared to the starter base. The only thing that sucks is that we can't bring this this pole over that gives us some arrested buff because the event passed. But I think the crib looks pretty cozy. It was day 95, so I went to take a look off my luxurious balcony. We got lights, we got everything, we got a back door. Our house is looking beautiful. And with the house pretty much complete, I decided I would go visit the trader for the Mejanjord thing, or however you say it. I'm gonna grab all my coins. And I sat off in that direction. It's the troll. So here's my little poles. Should be right around this corner, right? Yes, sir. Or is that just a pole? It's just a pole. But that means we're on the right way. Is that it? I think that's it. Yes, sir. There he is. And we had made it to Haldor. Then I decided to get all my coins. Oh man, dude, we still don't have enough coins? Yep, we were still short on coins, so I just decided to buy a bunch of random stuff. I guess I'll just buy some of this stuff. Make the obliterator now. Buy a fishing rod too. Oh yeah, look at my Yule hat. This is awesome. So this thing is the obliterator. Looks pretty interesting. Oh, it costs 8 iron and 4 copper. Probably don't have the iron for it. This is where I turn, I'm pretty sure. See if our homie's still here. Yep, he's still over there. He looks like a P-Bob Jerry. What you guys think? And after bullying P-Bob Jerry, I made it home. And boy, do I have to say, that house looks good. Day 97. We got 3 more. Man, you know, I never sat in my throne. Look at all of our spoils. Then I started checking out the mini barrels from the trader, and they didn't look that bad. Next up was trying out the fishing pole, and yeah, it might have been a bit taller than me. I didn't really understand what I was doing, so I sat around and waited. And waited. Then I hooked something. What do I do? Yeah, I had lost the fish by trying to recast my line. Whoa. Yeah, I couldn't catch a fish, but I could do tricks. After much trial and tribulations, I finally got to reel one in. This has got to be the one, right? I'm like 8 meters away. 3. Let's go. And there was my first pike. And like any other big game hunter, I put my trophy up on the wall. Boom. Needing a name for the base, I put a sign up. Gauges, residence. Let's see how it looks. And while I was checking it out, this happened. Don't worry, be happy. Is it the fish saying that? This guy talks? And yeah, apparently the pike speaks. You got some words of wisdom for today? On day 98? I guess he was maybe shy today. Got 2 days left. I guess I could maybe make a path. And that I did do, connecting my starter base with the main. And we'll do a little bit of touch up. I also decided to fence in the sacred berry bushes. Then I wanted to make the front of my house seem more alive. And I seen if you put Surtling cores on item stands, then they are like a torch that lasts forever. Oh yeah, and they are glowing. You see that? So those are like little lights. Alright, that's awesome. Next, I wanted to spice up the front with handrails and baby roofs over the windows. Add in some final touches to the front. I think this is the fire hazard right here. And yes, that most definitely was, but that wasn't the priority right now. Day 99. One last day. See how the house looks outside? Oh yeah, that looks awesome. I also wanted to show off all the trophies I've collected over the 100 days for those who wanted to see, as well as my skills that have only been reset twice due to my deaths. Man, I still can't get over the troll. Yep, I'm really taking it in. Good morning. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? It's day 100. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. And anyway, I got one more thing to do. I'm really glad I made this balcony. It's really cool. Wait, what is that over there? What is that? Let's go check that out. What is that? Oh, it's just a, oh, my boat. Oh, it's just a rock.